Okay, so I'm Sarah Ferry. I'm the Head of Marketing at Sangosse. I'm absolutely delighted to be here in sunny Yorkshire, and today is quite a landmark moment where we have this amazing drone, and we're on farm at Andrew Manfield's farm, and here I have Rob Pearson from Auto Spray Systems, Stuart Sutherland from the Sangosse, and also Andrew. So, Rob, do you want to tell us a bit about what's going on here today?
Absolutely. Well, we're very pleased to have a chat with Sangosse. Well, crikey, I think it was only last week. We were talking about pod sealant being applied to oilseed rape, and I happen to know a farmer in Yorkshire, Andrew, who's got an excellent crop on his hands. So we thought we'd come down and see how the drone coped with spraying the pod sealant, and to check the best settings. What's the best application rate? What are the best droplet sizes for this? Because all of these are, we can vary with the drone. So it's been a great day out in the sun, checking these out, and then disappearing into dark rooms to look under ultraviolet fluorescent light at what the coverage was like. So yeah, we're getting some very interesting results.
Okay, brilliant. So can you tell me a little bit more about the technology of the drone here?
Yes, the big XAG drones look very exciting and very new, but in fact it's a technology that's been around for the last 15 years, and these are widely used in 70 countries around the world. However, Europe and the UK have been late adopters of this technology because we are somewhat more risk averse in our acceptance of technology, or rather the regulators are. So it's taken quite a long time to get it legal for big drones to fly, big drones like this to fly, because these weigh up to about 120 kilos. But the critical change we had to work around was the ability to drop things from drones. Civil aviation do not like you to drop anything from your drone. It must be the same weight when it lands as it was when it took off. Mm-hmm. And of course, when this lands, it's 60 kilos lighter than when it took off. Because otherwise we haven't done our job very well. So the technology is entirely autonomous. We just map the field, tell it how much we want to apply and where we want it to apply, and the drone goes and does that job. We are here literally to change its batteries and to fill its tanks. Okay,
thank you, Rob. And Stuart, just tell me a little bit about the purpose of Podstick here in this field today, and why we're working with Auto Spray Systems on this technology.
Firstly, I think we're working with Auto Spray Systems because as a company ourselves, we like to be forward thinking, looking at new technology. On a personal front, I'm all for new technology and drones especially. But this trial here that we're looking at in this field behind us, we've been trialing different water volumes with Podstick. We've been looking at our development product as well, of course. And then as Rob said, we're looking at droplets and coverage, so playing around with droplet sizes and coverage to see if we can maximise the coverage in this oilseed rape to help maximise yield in the event of some adverse weather.
Okay, thanks Stuart. Hi Andrew. Thanks very much for having us here today.
It's a pleasure.
So obviously oilseed rape is quite an important crop in the UK, and I imagine there's a number of challenges that come with growing that crop. In the context of pod sealants and pod shatter this time of year, could you say a little bit about the issues and why drone application is such a valuable potential technology for agriculture?
Yeah, we've obviously overcome some of the big challenges of growing oilseed rape this year and got it to the stage where we actually have what looks like it's going to be a decent harvest. One of the biggest challenges we particularly face is protecting that yield potential, because we're in a very exposed position here up on the edge of the Yorkshire Wolds, 120 metres above sea level, big line of sight in both directions, out to the coast or out towards the Pennines. Mm-hmm. So we can get a lot of seed loss, potentially get a lot of seed loss from wind damage. So we would be a traditional user of Podstick technology, and that is good, except obviously one of the really painful parts about it is that you do have to run through a mature crop to apply it. And I think people looking at the video will see the stature of the crop behind us. It's sort of up to 7 foot tall. And even with a self-propelled sprayer, which we're fortunate enough to have, you still do crop damage and there is crop loss. So even though the Podstick brings us benefits in terms of reduced pod shatter, we do pay a price for that, in that we do a certain amount of damage running through the crop. So the drone clearly offers us the potential to apply that product without running through the crop, without doing damage, and also potential to apply it in a better way, because with a conventional crop sprayer, you can do a certain amount with nozzles and forward and backward facing, optimizing pressures and so on. But you're never going to get that penetration and coverage, I'd suggest, that you can get with the drone technology, where we've got a much more acute control of droplet size, and we've got that downdraft from the rotors, pushing it into the top couple of feet of the crop where the pods are. And that's quite exciting for us, I think, that double benefit potentially.
Yeah, it sounds really valuable opportunity. I mean, have you experienced crop losses on this farm without using pod sealants? Is it?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Going back to back when we started growing oilseed rape, we have absolutely seen it. I mean, obviously there's multiple technologies. I mean, we do use the varieties that reckon to have reduced pod shatter, but the pod stick technology, since it's been available and it's been a proven and developed thing, which doesn't have adverse consequences when it comes to harvest and so on, if it's applied correctly, we have used that regularly. Yeah.
On top of your pod shatter, is this?
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And I mean, either all of you please jump in, but do you see much potential for other applications of products using drones in your farming operations?
Well, I mean, as a farmer, one of the things that we would dearly like to be able to use the drone for is slug pellet application, because the fact that you're normally applying slug pellets when it is wet and you can't get on the land easily, the fact that we're increasingly learning, I think, that slugs are quite a zoned thing, I mean, just from our own farming sort of lived experience, we know the areas on the farm within fields where they're more susceptible. And the fact that we can just literally just in a second or two, draw a zone on a map and send the drone to do that area, potentially, that is a game changer in my view for getting slug pellets on when they need to be on, and effectively, quickly. We could, I mean, the Sangosse might not want to hear this, but we can potentially reduce the amount of active ingredient we're applying across the farm, but we can apply it more effectively, which has to be, I think, a winner for everybody.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, do you want to say anything about the status of drones in the UK and where we're at with the future of?
Absolutely. I mean, at the day, during today, we've had 3 or 4 local operators in the Yorkshire area who operate these big drones popping in to see what's happening. They're very interested in pod stick, and we'll be talking to local farmers about that. So there's a real growing group of operators from the north of Scotland to the south coast who see the benefits of this technology and are bringing these into either agricultural contracting companies or are setting up new businesses to do this. And there is a huge appetite from the farming community, but the issue we face at the moment is that plant protection products that are registered as pesticides, still require further legislation, and we're working hand in glove with DEFRA, the government and the Health and Safety Executive to make that happen. There are no blocked doors, and sorry, I should add to that list, with the agri-chem manufacturers, because nobody is against this. This is being pursued very positively, but it could always happen more quickly because we're coming up to harvest season. We'll be putting new crops into the ground. It is a critical time for sort of slug application, slug control. So there's real demand, but fortunately we're working very positively with the government to make this happen really quick.
Brilliant.